5 per minute. That is all you really need to create for versatile frameworks to carry you through the entire game. And all you need is 180 iron ore per minute, 120 coal per minute, and a total of 120 megawatts of power. Start with a 12x7 platform. In the second row, starting in the second column, you'll want to place down 3 foundries. We'll put down a double manifold line behind those foundries in the first row, making sure that the inputs are coming in from the left-hand side. To raise up the second double manifold over here, you just want to place down 3 splitters. But before you place down the last splitter, you'll want to make sure that the input is coming in from the left-hand side, and then you place it down. Then you just have to remove the first 2 bottom splitters. Then you add your conveyor lift. Make sure that the bottom manifold line has a Mark III belt between the first and the second splitter, and then a Mark II belt between the second and the third splitter. And for the manifold on the top, you'll want to make sure that there's a Mark II belt between the first 2 splitters and a Mark I belt between the next 2 splitters. For the outputs, just make sure that you have a merger in front of the first 2 foundries, making sure that the outputs are facing to the left-hand side, and then belt all the foundries to the mergers using Mark I belts. Set all the foundries to be doing steel ingots, and make sure to underclock the last one to 66.6667% in order to just do 30 per minute. For the last 2 columns of the second row, we are then going to add 2 smelters and a splitter in the 6th column in the first row, making sure that the splitter is having its input coming in from the left-hand side. We are then going to add a Mark I belt between the last foundry splitter going into the splitter of the smelters. For the outputs of the smelters, we just want to add a merger in front of the first smelter with its output facing forward. Then make sure to set both of these to be producing iron ingots. In the 5th row, we are then going to add 2 constructors for the steel beams. And then we are going to add a splitter in the 4th row behind the first constructor, making sure the input for that splitter is coming in from the bottom. We are then going to add a Mark II belt between the merger of the foundries over here to that splitter, making sure we line it up with the splitter, going back 2 spaces, and then connecting it to the splitter to create a nice 90-degree angle. For the outputs, we just add a merger in front of the first constructor in the 6th row with its output going forward, and then belt Mark I belts into that merger from those constructors. Set both constructors to be doing steel beams. Next, for the steel rods, we are going to create 2 more constructors next to the first 2 in the 5th row. And we are going to add a splitter in the 4th row behind the second rod constructor right here, with its input coming in from the right-hand side this time. And then Mark I belts going into both constructors. We set both of these to be doing iron rods, but make sure to underclock the second one to 75% in order to just create 11.25 per minute. Next, we're going to add 2 more constructors for the iron plates. Behind each one of those constructors, we add splitters. The first constructor splitter has its input coming in from the right-hand side, but the second one has its input coming in from the bottom. We are then going to add a Mark I belt between the merger of the smelters and that splitter right here, and then a Mark I belt between the splitter of the plates and the splitter for the iron rods. For the output of the plates, we just want a merger here in front of the first constructor of the plates with its output facing forward. We set both to be doing iron plates, but we make sure to underclock the second one to 12.5% in order to just do 2.5 iron plates per minute. In the 7th row, in the 2nd and 3rd column, we are going to add 2 more constructors for the screws. And in the 6th row behind the second constructor here, we are going to add a splitter, making sure the input is coming in from the bottom. We are then going to add a Mark I belt between the constructor underneath it and the splitter. In the 8th row, we are adding a merger in front of the second constructor with its output facing to the right-hand side, and then belting both constructors into it using Mark I belts. We set both of these to be doing screws. but we make sure to underclock the second one to 12.5% in order to just create 5 per minute. Here we add an assembler for the reinforced iron plates. You'll want to make sure that the inputs are on the left side and that the top input is directly aligned with that merger for the screws. And then you'll want to make sure that the inputs are 2 notches on the left-hand side between the 5th and 6th column. Then we'll add a Mark 1 belt between the merger of the iron plates. We'll line it up with the bottom input, go back 2 spaces, and then go straight into that input of the assembler. Then we'll add a Mark 1 belt straight from the screws into the assembler like this. Make sure to set it to be doing reinforced iron plate, but also underclock it to 75% in order to do 3.75 reinforced iron plates per minute. Next, for the modular frames, we are going to add 2 assemblers starting at the beginning of the 10th row, but lining it up so that the first assembler here's second input is directly in the middle of both the 4th and 5th column. In the 9th row, we add a double manifold line. The top one has its input coming in from the bottom for the first splitter and the second splitter from the left-hand side. We add a Mark 1 belt between both splitters. For the bottom, we have a splitter behind the second assembler that has its input coming in from the right-hand side. And we use Mark 1 belts to go into both assemblers. We then grab a Mark 1 belt from that reinforced iron plate assembler right here. We go up so that it lines up with the splitter for the modular frames. We go back 2 spots and then we drop down the belt and then we do a nice 90-degree turn into that splitter. Then we'll add a conveyor lift, Mark 1, making sure that it lines up with the splitter right here. And we just want to make it right at the beginning of the 8th row. We'll make sure that the bottom is facing towards the iron rod constructors. And then we are going to make sure that the output is lined up perfectly with the splitter. Then we add a Mark 1 belt from the lift to the splitter and from the lift to this constructor down here. For the outputs, we add a merger in front of the first assembler, making sure the output is facing to the left. Then we belt using Mark 1 belts, both assemblers to the merger. We set both of these assemblers to be doing modular frames, but we underclock the second one to 25% in order to just do 0.5 per minute. Finally, add the versatile framework assembler. We want to make sure this time though that the inputs are coming in from the top and the output is going in at the bottom of the assembler. And we want to line it up so that it aligns with the other assemblers. We'll do it so that the output here is exactly at the start of the 10th row and in the middle of the second column. Then we add a Mark 1 belt from the steel beam merger. We bring it all the way up to the middle of the 12th row. We go back 2 notches. Then we turn and we line it up with the input for that assembler, the first one. We go back 2 notches and then we do another 90-degree turn into the assembler. Add a Mark 1 belt from this merger of the modular frames. And then we're going to line it up with the second input of the assembler. Go back 2 spots, put it down, and then do a 90-degree turn into the assembler. We set this assembler to do versatile frameworks. And then for the output, we just belt it straight into a storage container. All the blueprints in this video are available on my new Patreon. You also get access to the layout save that I use to test all my layouts. And did you know that you also only need 5 smart plating per minute for the entire game? You can see that guide right here.